kind of just a dude. I was just your average, apolitical citizen. So back to my point. I'm a normal person. We, the normal people, because we're just people. I am seriously just a normal person. As I can't emphasize this enough, a normal person. Just a normal person. A lot of other normal people, like me. I am a normal person. I'm a normal person. I'm kind of just a dude. I was just your average, apolitical citizen. So back to my point. I'm a normal person. We, normal people. Because we're just people. I am seriously just a normal person. As I can't emphasize this enough. A normal person.
I don't know if it's far-fetched to ask, but Russian actors could be continuing to fuel things as this protest grows, but perhaps even instigating it from the outset.
Although it may take several decades for the process of transformation to unfold, combat will likely take place in new dimensions, in space, cyberspace, and perhaps the world of microbes. Space itself will become a theater of war as nations gain access to space capabilities and come to rely on them. Further, the distinction between military and commercial space systems, combatants and non-combatants, will become blurred. Information systems will become an important focus of attack, particularly for U.S. enemies seeking to short-circuit sophisticated American forces, and advanced forms of biological warfare that can target specific genotypes may transform biological warfare from the realm of terror to a politically useful tool.
Let's get ready to spread 'em. Yo, let's spread it. But first, let's get our accoutrement on.
Nice.
They don't fit over the headphones,
No? Oh.
but it blocks out National Security Agency frequencies.
Nice. There
Yep.
you go.
There.
Very dapper.
Very dapper.
Yeah.
You feel kind of 90s.
Yeah. What's
I
going on?
I didn't think about the headphones. Shit.
Oh,
Doesn't
Those-
work. God. All right. Well, it's still a look.
yeah, it works.
When I get the Super Spreaders logo on the front, at least this part is, very prominent.
Yeah. I'll take some of the sheen off the front there too.
That's right. Yeah, so here we are, Saturn Day Night live. It's been an interesting week.
Yeah, you were telling me earlier.
Oh, yeah, man. It's been an interesting week. Tonight, we're going to sneak preview the first couple minutes. Don't get too excited. Of the next big Super Spreaders video, which is going to be part 2 to our now legendary Metabiota video, exposing Hunter and Ukraine and all that. And one day we'll be going down in history as the video that brought down the government
Right.
in America.
Here's hoping.
Well, squad goals, right? Hashtag squad goals.
Yeah.
So, we work on these things on our own time, everyone. So, it goes slow. I started cutting the footage for this, 2.5 months ago, and I've got 2 minutes. So that gives you an idea what video editing is like.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's also, the problem is that first Metabiota video was like, oh, wow, okay, so I'm on Twitter, and someone said, oh, well, I started to smell this fucking, like, odeur de fromage about the Ukraine biolabs and Hunter Biden, and I'm, like, in the group in Twitter, and I'm like, what the hell? What is with this? Anybody know anything about this? And someone said, check out Blue Canaries on Twitter. And this girl, Blue Canaries, on Twitter had this whole thread. And it's just great. So all I did was basically transcribe the thread, throw it into the AI program that I use, created the voiceover, and I just cut a bunch of footage in to match what she said. Bam, there's Metabiota 1. But now I'm doing Metabiota 2, and it's been like 3 months of me and everyone going like, hey, cool video, but did you know this? Oh, check out this thread from this guy. Oh, but did you hear about that? And now I'm just like, where do I even start?
Right. Wow.
Like, how do I even start this second part? Because now it's like filling me in for like 15 years before now this actually started.
Oh, wow.
And then there's all this shit in Ukraine, and like and another guy's got a thread that goes deep on like Zelensky and the people that put him in power and Obama, and it's just like, how do I even start this? Like the first one was just one really smart girl's thread on Twitter, and I just transcribed and pumped out a video. Now I'm just like, oh my God. Everybody's coming at me with amazing information. And the challenge is to keep this below 20 minutes.
Right. Well, I could always do a part 2 and then, queue up a part 3.
And do like, Return of the Jedi later. Yeah. Yeah, while I'm bullshitting here, Rain, feel free to jump in on those chats and put up any genius comments from beautiful Allison or beautiful First Utopia. Hey, First Utopia. Good to see you. Good to see everyone. You're still on YouTube. Once we start getting controversial, we're going to cut this YouTube feed, I tell you. Those bastards. And Facebook check this out. So when I'm setting up the stream on our software, I just type in my title and then it broadcasts it out to all the various sources. But on this one, it returned an error. It said Facebook said there's an error with the title. And I was like, okay, well, this one's really long. I'll take out a few words. Enter. Wait a second. Still an error with the title. Okay. All right. So maybe it's like a punctuation. I took out all the punctuation. Hit enter. No, there's an error with the title tonight. Okay. All right. Fine. So, Saturn Day Night Live. Maybe it's a copyright thing. And they think like we're trying to steal Saturday Night Live from NBC. So take that out. Nope. Error with the title. And I tried every combination I could think of. And only when I deleted Metabiota would it accept it. That's where we're at. Like fucking Facebook, Metabiota is a fucking company. It's a fucking corporation. So like you can't have a video that mentions Metabiota on Facebook. Like what the fuck? And then as soon as I deleted Metabiota, it didn't care what I was talking about. It could have any title I wanted, as long as I'm not talking about Metabiota.
Yeah, that's a little crazy.
Yeah. Oh, YouTube's okay with even YouTube was okay with it, for fuck's sake. Yeah. So like the title on Facebook right now is Saturday. I think that's what it's called.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That'll bring the people in on Facebook. They're like, oh my God, these people have such perception. They're right. It's Saturday. Let's tune in. Mary Angela's here. Great to see you, Mary Angela. Thanks for popping by. So yeah, I think we're gonna warm up with a little bit of like the news on Twitter and go through what's going on around there and around town, and then we'll get down to the Metabiontic. I don't dare say boo, you know, because then we'll get banned. So shall we go through what's going on Twitter these days? What happened this week?
Yeah, let's go through. I don't know if you told me everything that was going on. It sounded like it was pretty crazy from what you're.
It's been a thing. Things are wild over there. Let's check out SuperSpreaders through nanobots and 5G. Let's check out the nano news. Right, everyone. I was supposed to get the screen share set up before that ended, but I'm not quite on it. Here we go. All right. So, starting with...
There's a lot of uncertainty about, for example, school shutdowns. To this day, you know, there's still arguments about how many cases that avoided. It's pretty clear because young people don't get sick from the disease very often, that we probably, if we knew everything we know today, we would have shut schools down a lot less than we did during this pandemic. I mean, yes, it's tricky for the elder adults. It's tricky in a lot of ways.
And you mean by that high school and under?
Exactly. You know, for college, going virtual tends to work awfully well. The infection levels are a little higher as you get up into that age group. But K through 12, we have a learning deficit that will take us a long time to erase that. And sadly, it's a deficit where the inner city is where it's almost 2 years. Suburban schools less, private schools in some cases, like my kids, almost no deficit at all.
Oh, okay, yeah. So your kids are all right. Good, because we're all sitting here, we're worried about, hey, but what about Bill Gates' kids?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope, how are they coping with all this? Because my like 2-year-old doesn't know how to fucking recognize faces because you had masks on. Fucking assholes. Jesus.
Yep.
Shouldn't have stopped sharing. I'm going to put the share back on. But you see these guys all wheeling it back. They're wheeling it back just a little bit now, right? Interesting news today. At Friday's event, RFK said when asked if he's going to run for president, he said, I'm thinking about it.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So let's start the countdown timer till he gets fucking JFK'd.
I was just going to say, that's why I said,
Yeah.
no. No,
Sorry,
don't do it.
bro. Yeah.
Don't do it.
Yeah. Watch your behind to the left.
Isn't he like the only one left?
No, there are probably hundreds of them by now, but I mean, there's probably others that could take up the Kennedy name, but at the same time, Jesus, what happens to them?
Yeah.
The only one that survived was Ted.
It's nothing short of a miracle that he's been allowed to go run with the narrative that he's been running with on his own.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I mean, I'd be like, you seem like you're relatively safe in your lane. Maybe stay there.
Yeah. Well, that was there's a lot of debate about that today in the circles. Kind of, is he serious? And so we've got a bit of an inside line here. Rain and I, we've had people on here who actually have lunch with this guy and told us that they feel this is strongly serious.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I've tended to go with people who are serious about running for president deny that they're running for president. Generally speaking, the standard political advice is when asked if you're running for president, you say, "Oh, that's for other people. I would never dream of it," right?
Right.
And that means you are running for president.
Yeah.
The other line is that he could be doing a Trumpish probe. Trump officially ran for the nomination for president in 2012. Might have been 2008. I'm not sure, but he fully declared he was running and fully did pressers and went all the way up to the point where they were going to actually start doing debates and voting for nomination, and then pulled out.
Right.
And it was like a big fact-finding kind of feeler thing.
Yeah.
So he might be doing that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all a big 4D chess game, right? So I guess we'll have to see, but this is definitely surprising that his answer was that. But according to our insider, it was very staged, and this was at an event where his father and his uncle had important speeches and or declared that they were going to run. So it's a spot with historic significance. Plus, enemies like New York Times and stuff were there. So I mean, New York Times, my God, they've called RFK basically Satan personified.
Yeah.
Why would they be there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think he's got a hope in hell.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean,
I doubt he even gets through I doubt he even wins the primary. Trump will kill him. Trump will destroy him.
Well, but we were talking about being the Democratic nominee. We're not talking about Trump yet.
Well, I thought you said he was running as a Republican.
No. No one's talking about that.
Oh, okay.
It's assumed he would be a Democrat.
Oh, well, I could have sworn you said he was running for the Republicans if he does decide to run for president.
Yeah, no, right at the bottom there it says, I mean, that's just someone talking shit. RFK Jr. could jump into the Republican primary, but at the same time, I've seen the same amount of commentary just assuming he's going to run Democrat and destroy Biden.
Well, yeah, he'd have a good shot at beating Biden if there was no other competition. That I agree with.
Yeah, I mean, who else, right? I mean, they run that lame duck, or they don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is he? Is he actually governor or anything
No.
like that?
No, just a lawyer.
Just a lawyer. Okay.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
So is his dad.
Yeah. 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 Well, I mean, yeah, kudos to him if he wants to try to do it. See what happens,
It'd
I guess.
be interesting as shit.
Well, it would be, for sure.
Just to see what his pull would be. And that's where I would, if I was advising him, I would say do the Trump bailout. Yeah. Don't run for real, target 2028, but see what happens.
Yeah.
I mean, if it turns into a landslide of support, then go for it. But,
Well, if he gets any kind of media coverage, I mean, it might be good just to have him as a talking head, talking about his, the stuff he wants to talk about, whether he wins or not. I mean, that'd be a plus, even, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, you're right, Allison. RFK was the Attorney General under JFK. Going after the mob, which turned out to be not such a great idea, since their dad worked with the mob to get them elected through the unions. Yeah, didn't work out too well.
Yeah. So what else we got going on?
Oh, we got some stuff. This is a good one.
They hide this. Implied this. Denied this. Einstein died. Hey, UFOs, men from Mars. Meanwhile, they're derailing cars. All the names on Maxwell's list. Seems the story press dismissed. Epstein did not kill himself. And World War III is for your health. For your health. They scan this. They plan this. We demand this. Fake news, that's a wrap. The Ukraine war is a laundromat. Hunter Biden, laptop blues, biolabs and child abuse. Vaccine hunter never seen on the cover of a magazine. Immigration, open borders, proxy wars, and new world order. Tonight's news was brought to you by Pfizer. Break it down. Tune in tomorrow for more news that you can't trust. Stop. Scammer time. Cheap news. Here's the facts. Freedom's lost. You won't get back. Carbon credit holiday. No diesel for your car today. You will all eat the bugs. You will not drive the car. You will all live in the 15-minute city. And you will be happy. Or the fines. You will pay.
All right. Wrong, Oliver. Good stuff.
Alex, there will be no clappings in the dungeons.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. That's another bit of a talky video. I'll maybe come back to that one. That was it for saved tweets. So, see this old biddy telling off fucking Jacinda. Whoops.
Rated R.
Yes, it is. It is 2 New Zealands. Yes, I'm happy with that.
Here we go.
This fall of Jacinda Ardern. A year ago, she was so cocky, so full of her power. She was so happy to openly admit in that one that many people have said to me today they'll remember her for. Yes, it is. It is 2 New Zealands. Yes, I'm happy with that. Smiling, laughing. Many will remember her for that clip. That was her a year ago, and today she's crying and trying to get our sympathy and trying to get us loving her by, oh, Clark, I'll marry you. Watch that space. See if that really happens. Or is that more play acting? But to the rest of the world, is it Trudeau next? Who's going to be the next domino to fall? Because Jacinda's a big domino. She was a darling of Klaus Schwab. She was doing everything he wanted. This is big. To the world, this should give us all hope across the world that this terrible idea, this con of the emperor's new clothes level, is finally falling. There is a moment where everybody can point their finger and say, Gates, World Health Organization, United Nations, World Economic Forum, we're having no more of your nonsense. No more. You are all seen, and you are naked in your brutality, your cruelty, your lack of care for humanity. And we, all of us who are waking up, all of us who stood up against this oppression, much to our cost, we are going to create from this a world in which every life matters, in which all of us respect one another, and in which the criminals, of which I believe Jacinda Ardern is a leading exemplar, will pay for the criminality they've supported over the last 3 years. If you doubt what I'm saying, listen to this speech from the UN, which was one of her most traitorous moments. And I mean traitorous to everything that represents good in the human race. We cannot have leaders like this. And Jacinda Ardern, you resigning today, absolutely confirms that this house of cards you are part of and have helped to build up is tumbling down. Thank you for resigning. For you, I pity you. You have to live with the results of your actions. The way I've got through your brutality is I've often pictured you on your deathbed, Jacinda. When I've interviewed people who've been jabbed, injured, sobbing, people who've been subject to police brutality because of what you've unleashed, people who are struggling financially, losing their marriages, people crying out to me, please help me. This is terrible living in New Zealand. I've felt so angry towards you at times, but to get past that, I've contemplated what your death will be like when you see the video of the life you've lived, the choices you've made, the cruelties you've unleashed. You have to live with that. We'll build
Going
something
dark.
else, but you will carry that till the day you die. I feel for you. You will have much, much to pay back in this and future lives, Jacinda Ardern. I suggest you begin by being open with the people of New Zealand and saying sorry and listening to the pain you've caused and finding ways to put it right, beginning with Casey Hodgkinson and going from there, thousands of jab injured. What if we live a life in which we try to help, be as decent as we can, be as ethical as we can, do the right thing wherever we can? Perhaps then life and death meld in to a very peaceful journey, and we leave this life in a good space. But we never escape the evil we do. The moral arc of the universe is long, but it does bend towards justice. And that justice comes if we deny it all through life. It comes at that point of death and possibly beyond, when we have to look back. This soul we have leaves the body, and yet the soul in another dimension could possibly look back and review the good we've done, or in your case, the wrongdoing. And that is a very...
All right, she's starting to get a little bit flaky there. Oh.
Yeah, I don't know if Jacinda actually cares, man. I mean, I think these people are heartless. You know,
Yeah.
probably got off on what she did.
I think she believed every step of what she did. I think she believed she was doing the right thing. I think that's true of almost everyone involved with this. There's just there's a couple fucking disgustingly, unbelievably rich bankers that are like, let's depopulate the earth with toxins. Everybody else is like, I'm going to save my country by doing this.
Yeah.
And she's one of them.
Yeah, I know you think that, and that's fine. But I don't.
Well, you think they called up Jacinda Ardern and like, yeah, we got actually, we're going to roll out of vax and we're going to lock down everyone in order to kill them. And she's like, okay, cool.
No, but I mean, I don't think she's stupid either. I mean, if simpletons like me and you can see the effects of what's happening under the whole COVID narrative, I'm sure someone like Jacinda Ardern and Trudeau, for that matter, can see what's going on.
But we're based AF.
Well, you don't need to be based to read statistics.
Well, I think you
know?
do. The unbased don't see statistics. They don't see numbers. They don't see science.
Well, I'm sure Trudeau is an example, and probably Jacinda as well. Just had to look out the window and her fucking in each of their parliament structures and see what the hell was going on outside with the people to know something was up.
Perfect example. Trudeau's, but he's a moron.
Yeah. Well.
And he was told in, event 201 and all these fucking exercises that there will be a bunch of racists that will rise up and scream at you. All you have to do is, Canada, you're playing role B3. Role B3 dictates that you declare martial law. And he's like, he knew the whole time. He didn't have to talk to his people. He didn't have to listen to any dissent. He knew that if it got bad enough, all he does is declare martial law. And he still thinks he's doing the right thing because he's a fucking idiot. You and I have a hard time with that because we're not idiots. And our audience are not idiots. And we're like, what the fuck? Is this guy evil? He's not evil. He thinks he's doing God's work. He's that dumb.
Yeah, I don't know.
Otherwise, I mean, like, what are they doing? Like, hey, let before we do our big plan, let's make sure we call Justin Trudeau and tell him all about it so he doesn't fuck it up. No, they're gonna be like, Justin, you're an angel and you're the best thing that's ever happened to humanity. Just keep fighting for medicine and pharmacy and everything that's righteous, and stop CRT or continue CRT and fight systemic racism and climate change. And he's like, okay, thank you, Daddy. Like they don't call him and say like, okay, step 10, here we go. We're going to kill all these people. He's actually like, he's such a dullard. I mean, like if they called him up and said, we're going to kill all these people, he'd probably be like, wait, hold on a second. I don't want to do that.
Well, I don't know. Maybe. But then you just simply need to look at the guy's net worth before COVID started and now. I mean, it went from a few $1 million to hundreds of millions.
So Mariangela's on your side. Yes, Mariangela. I think like Trudeau is that stupid. He's that shallow. He really thinks he's doing the right thing. People kind. This is the people kind Prime Minister.
I know, but to me, I think it's all part of the agenda, and I think he's fully aware of what he's doing. I mean, whether Castro is legitimately his father or not. I mean, the guy obviously ascribes to a Marxist ideology, and if you're subscribing,
which just makes him stupider. Just makes him stupider. Makes him more open to propaganda. He thinks he's Jesus. He thinks he's Canada's Jesus. He's that shallow. I think he thinks he's doing the right thing. I don't think he's out to kill Canadians.
Yeah, I disagree.
Right. Well, hey, that's fine. It's just my take. It's just my hot take. Everybody's got a take.
That's cool.
But I think these people are because it's the classic argument against conspiracy theories is that, just look, all these people that you have to get involved, how can they all keep it secret? How can they all keep the giant conspiracy secret? It's simple. There's just like 5 guys at the top with the actual plan. Everyone else thinks they're doing God's work. They have no idea there's any kind of grand plan or any kind of conspiracy whatsoever. They just think they're being good civil servants. Trudeau just thinks he's being a good civil servant to the people, and that everyone that argues with him is an idiot.
Okay, but I mean, by your logic, though, then he's still following, he's following a plan that somebody else is dictating to him, and he believes he's doing the right thing. Well, that in itself is reason enough for him, if he had any kind of moral compass, to step down as prime minister. He's supposed to be the leader of Canada. He's not supposed to be answering to fucking somebody else or the WEF.
Yeah, I'm not arguing for his platform or for the Liberals remaining in government. Don't get me wrong. I'm not defending the guy. I'm saying he's stupid. He's so dense that he thinks he's doing God's work when he's actually implementing a grand conspiracy against humanity.
The point I'm making, though, is if that's true, if we're going to go with that logic, then somebody, either the entire Liberal caucus is just as fucking retarded, or if not, if you'd care to admit that there's at least a couple smart people in the Liberal caucus, I mean, somebody should be talking to him and telling him to smarten the fuck up or change his ways or step down.
At the end of the day, the leader and the whip rule the caucus, and if you step too far out of line, you're out. When you're full rein back in, there are people who spoke out. There were a couple promising Liberal guys who spoke out, and you thought maybe might have kind of voted against the Emergencies Act, but of course they didn't. They were whipped back into the party. So I mean, if he's a moron that thinks he's Jesus, then an MP coming up and saying, "Hey, Justin, maybe this is the wrong way," he's gonna be like, "Fuck off, shut up, vote the way I told you to."
How about the Governor General then, or the King for that matter? Are they all stupid?
Oh, Governor General, that's a different topic.
Well, I know, but at some point you have to follow through your logic. That's where I'm trying to get you to go.
All right.
Like, Justin Trudeau is not God. He's not the supreme dictator.
He declared himself God. It really didn't matter at that point.
Exactly, but according to the law and the Constitution and all that stuff, I mean, there's still systems in place to...
But he broke out of that. He broke out of all that.
Right, but there's people above him is what I'm trying to say.
Not when he uses the Emergency Act. He made himself king to resolve the problem. There was no debate. They weren't meeting because it was COVID and there were these scary truckers. So there was no debate. There was nothing to talk about. They did nothing, and then he declared himself king.
By extension, though, again, using your logic, I mean, we can extrapolate that logic onto, Jesus, like 80% of the global leaders doing the exact same thing?
Welcome to the world that we live in. Right? It's just like Canada was singled out as the province of the world government where they had to deal with a giant uprising, right? And they each had their little playbook to play by, and it's obvious Canada, they've been doing these exercises for 30 years. They knew what part in the playbook they had to play out, and it was declare martial law, suspend the Constitution, and see what the people do about it. And at the end of the day, people did nothing about it.
Right, but once again, by saying that, you're openly admitting that Trudeau was taking his marching orders from a separate entity that has nothing to do with Canada.
Yes.
And that in itself is treason.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're mistaking what I'm saying for defending him. I'm not defending what he's done. I'm saying he's not evil. He's an idiot.
Well,
he's just a puppet. That's all I'm saying. It's not defending anything that he did. My whole point is he's taking marching orders from an evil fucking oligarchical
I'm just trying to put
government.
The level of idiot, like the argument that you're making puts Trudeau basically at, like Down syndrome, autistic level.
Yeah. So let me flip it around. Then. What's your argument that this is all Trudeau's idea? You think this is his plan?
Well, I don't think it's his plan. I never said that.
Then what?
I said that he's fully aware of what the plan is doing to people. I'm saying the fucker's evil. That's what I'm saying. And he knows it. Just like Jacinda Ardern, just like the rest of them. I don't hold to the design that they're just, morons and idiots that don't have a clue about what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, I'm just making an argument for how I'm just making an argument for how stupid he is. I'm not making an argument to excuse him. He should go up against the courts, and whatever the courts of the courts of juries of his peer decide, or his fate is what he should get. He should be held liable for every death, every injury, everything that happened here. There's nothing that I'm saying that gets him off the hook for any of that. It's just that no one should be under any illusions that this guy thought of any of this. That's all I'm saying. He's not smart enough. He's not. There's no 40 chess in the guy. There's none of that.
In fairness, engineer, you've shifted it though. You've said that he's. You said that he think he's doing God's work. So I mean that's a shift from what you just said. You can't do both.
What do you mean?
Well,
he thinks he's right. That's all I'm saying.
Right, and my argument is I think he knows exactly what he's doing.
You think he knows he's wrong, but he's doing it anyway.
Yes.
Right. Okay. At the end of the day, it's just your opinion and my opinion. None of us know the guy or have any way he was thinking. It's all I'm trying to say is that's just how I perceive the guy. An empty shell with socks and nice teeth. He's just empty. He's nothing. I actually get tired of people referring to the government as Trudeau or fuck Trudeau or we got to get rid of Trudeau. And he's just like a fucking gargoyle. Like he's nothing. He's a vapor. He doesn't exist as far as I'm concerned. That's what the point that he just doesn't exist. He doesn't lead anything. He doesn't make anything happen. He's just an fucking shell of a human being. That's my point. It's not to justify anything, not to say anything's okay, not to say like I like him, none of that. He's a vapor. He's an essence. He's nothing. That is my point.
I just think it's a slippery slope. Like if we go down that road where you believe that everybody thinks they're doing God's work, that just to me that leaves excuses for all of them. And no. You're culpable for your crimes. All I'm saying is that there are very few bona fide movie villains. There are people that wake up in the day and they're like, how many people can I kill? How many people can I make their lives worse? How can I destroy humanity today? There are just very few people. I'm sure there are some, but they're like people that actually think like that can't function enough in society to actually get into positions of authority. Like you're so psychopathic at that point that you can't even get by for the most part. So very rare. Like if you're in the oligarchy, you can be that psychopathic and born into a position of authority. But as far as generally in life, very few truly just I like evil, I am evil, and I can't wait to do evil is exceptionally rare. And most people think they're doing God's work. That's all I'm saying. It doesn't mean they're okay. Doesn't mean they're right. Just that they think they're doing the right thing. All those doctors that said get vaccinated, all those doctors and newscasters and blogists and all this stuff that said pregnant women go get the fucking vax and give it to 2-year-olds and all this shit. They all thought they were doing the right thing. And that takes care of 98.937 of the pyramid to the top of people that take part in a horrible conspiracy like this. It's only the 1.367% that actually know anything. I would add this dimension. I mean, maybe these people aren't flat out evil, but they're scared. And Trudeau might be among that group. I mean, we can point to the doctors. There's no shortage of doctors that know exactly what's going on. But when they got their license threatened,
yes,
and their practices threatened, well, guess what? They're going to go along with the narrative, even though they know it's fucking wrong.
Yeah.
And they're not stupid.
And in line with what I'm saying, for the first year, absolutely most doctors are just like, everything that I read in the journals is true, and vaccines and yada yada. And I've never questioned any of this in my life. So let's go. Oh my God, we're all going to die from COVID. So we need this. And now I'm like, I'm regularly in on Twitter spaces with these doctors themselves who for fully a year, 2 years held all that up. And now, I mean, some of these guys are fully 180 degrees out the other end, and they're like anti-vax. And I mean, not like the left definition of anti-vax, full on fucking anti-vax and questioning everything. Like that's how far it's come. And those guys, and I'm in the space, I'm listening to these human beings talk, they're not evil. They thought they were doing God's work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's all I'm saying, man.
Right. But
you know,
to add to that then though, so I mean, there, now we have evidence of people's moral base when faced with the actual evidence can change their minds. But if we go back to Trudeau, I mean, here's a guy who just continues to fucking forge forward like nothing's wrong.
Yes. Yes, and this is why this is the WF young leader formula. This is what they want.
Oh, I know it's what they want.
They're going to find these kind of people that are just going to be fucking morons and do what you say no matter what. Like Trudeau and Jacinda and the girl in Scotland and all that shit. This is exactly what they want. Just fucking idiots who will just run through the exercises like they taught them.
Okay, well then why did he have to make hundreds of millions of dollars in the process?
Who?
Trudeau. How? Through all the vaccines and stuff. He owns parts of the companies.
Yeah, I saw this Mariangela too. That's a little bit of misinformation there, I gotta say. Trudeau and his family, it's never been proven that he has a stake in the lipid nanoparticle company in BC. There's no proof yet that he has personally gained wealth from the vaccines. The conflict of interest argument can be extended to the fact that he over-eagerly ordered the vaccine, knowing that a Canadian company would benefit from it, but there isn't any personal, not yet. There's no personal connection.
Well, I don't think his personal wealth, the total, is up for debate, is it?
Eh?
Is his personal wealth total up for debate?
No, I'm not talking about his total wealth. I don't know what it is. But he hasn't gained wealth from.
Okay, if that number is vaccine, well, he gained it somewhere. You don't make that much money as a prime minister.
What much money?
Well, the supposed wealth that he currently has, which is in the hundreds of millions of dollars.
Oh yeah, but I mean, like we know he's born into massive wealth and investment.
Not that much. Stuff. Nowhere close to that. Nowhere. His dad wasn't worth that. His family wasn't worth that.
Okay, well, what do you got?
Well, I don't. That's what I'm saying. But I mean, that's what I'm saying. If that number is accurate, if it's provable, I don't have the proof sitting in front of me. But if that's an accurate number, he came into that wealth somehow.
Well, next week's show up with some receipts, because for me, he's born fabulously wealthy.
Well, yeah, he was a multimillionaire.
Yeah,
for sure. Big jump into the hundreds.
And then I saw Mariangela post earlier about the stake in the. There we go. If Trudeau owns 40% of the pharmaceutical patents on LNPs, I don't think he's stupid. I think he's untouchable. So that's what I thought you might have been referring to. Sorry. That hasn't been proven. There's an excellent rundown. I'm not prepared for it right now. There's an excellent Twitter thread where, or it was a Substack article where someone really goes deep on that. Excellent teardown. I'll find that again next week. Next week I'll bring that up because that's a little bit of a side thing, and I think Dr. David Martin has a little bit to answer for that, because he did a very viral presentation. He does this excellent speech where he's like, here's who's responsible for Operation Warp Speed and who gains from it, and and all the legal defenses and what you can do moving forward. And he makes it sound as if Justin Trudeau himself personally gains from the British Columbia company that all the liquid nanoparticles in every injection we're getting is their patent. But it's horribly messy. And at the end of the day, no one's been able to totally prove that Trudeau's family or him or any of their interests has a direct investment. But what you can argue is that obviously, as the Canadian government and the Canadian government invested in that company, it totally invested stock market style, that the Canadian government itself had a profit interest in promoting the vaccine. And that is ultimately one of the ways we possibly could get Trudeau. Just that we need access to information requests to find out if the Business Development Bank of Canada actually had profit investment initiatives in that company. I can't remember the names right now. We hosted a space on Twitter where I was co-hosting with Dr. David Martin, and just, I mean, God, just getting him to explain it, it kind of makes sense at the time, but it's just this legal morass that they've always obviously made this so incredibly hard to follow, so incredibly hard. It's going to take us like a decade just to chase down who's responsible for what, who actually owns the patent, who actually did this. It's genius. If I was evil, I'd toast them. Here you go. J Special.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I just did a quick Google search to try to find the guy's net worth, and not that that's going to tell you anything, but I mean, it was all over the map. So
yeah, I've seen numbers that generally tend towards 15 to 20 million.
Yeah, I saw everything from 10 to 85. So.
Yeah, right. And then it's a lot of stock market and a lot of secret shit, right? I mean, the guy's a multimillionaire. That's all we need to know. So, yeah, hell of a thing, man. What's been happening lately is a lot of backbiting. We're seeing a moment now, and I want to talk to everyone who's like tuning into us and us ourselves, who are like, Rain and I did this, started a couple of years ago, because you feel like you're in like Zoolander, and you're like, am I taking crazy pills? Right? We just like need to just like fucking shout out, talk about it at least a bit. And now we're at a point in 2023 where things are flipping around. And like I say, my daily adventures into Twitter and listening to Twitter Spaces is day after day, full on normie doctors showing up in these spaces, just going like, my God, what have we done? What have we done? And they're completely flipping around, and you're seeing like the narrative turn around. We've seen several countries completely revoke authorization for the vaccinations in people under 30, under 50, all sorts of stuff. All these definitive studies coming up about masking, the lockdowns not working. So it's a hell of a year, but at the same time, you're seeing what I think are counter ops coming in now.
Oh, totally.
COVID's, yeah.
As far as they're concerned, COVID's yesterday's news. They're on to their next fucking shit.
They're on to the next thing, but they're still on us. I think they're inserting this doubt in. So I'm seeing now, especially the last couple weeks, just this constant barrage of people showing up going like, oh, Robert Malone's controlled opposition because he won't talk about blank. Oh, Peter McCulloch, he's controlled opposition because he doesn't think it's the aliens that are doing it or whatever. Like,
yeah.
Whoever's not talking exactly what my pet theory of the whole thing is, controlled opposition.
Yeah.
And we're at danger right now when we're at a turning point. Because for me, the only goal here is to just like reach normies. Like that's why, like when we're making our little super spread it videos, is just to like put up some info with some fucking killer music, and maybe we'll get some people to wake up.
Yeah.
You know, to say make it fun, and maybe they'll listen, kind of like Loose Change did in 2003 or whatever.
Yeah.
Good beats and some good facts, and maybe some people will share it and have fun and wake up, right? And that's the goal, is wake up the normies, right? But right now it seems like there's this giant thing on to fucking like attack each other like Siamese fighting fish in the tiny little fish bowl. Nobody even knows about the fish bowl yet, and everybody's fighting.
Yeah.
And they think
something happened with the 9/11 conspiracy. I mean,
yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Same thing happened then. They're like, oh, Alex Jones, he's fucking CIA and fucking, this guy and that. And
or something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, she doesn't talk about the melting point of fucking steel and shit, right? So controlled opposition, CIA, Yeah. When for me, it's like, maybe they are. But right now and to date, check out what they've posted, check out what they've written, and what they're saying is lockdowns are wrong, masks are wrong, the vaccines were wrong, the vaccines are killing people, hospital protocols are killing people. Let's name them and prosecute them. Mm-hmm. And that's Robert Malone, that's Peter McCulloch, that's all these fucking people. And it's like, until they say something else, let's go with it. Because they have millions of followers. We have 850.
Yeah.
Our biggest video in history on Rumble was 65,000 views. Steve Kirsch, the billionaire tech guy, who's totally like, fuck vaccine, fuck lockdown, fuck mask, fuck all y'all. I want prison sentences. It writes a Substack and it reaches 1 million people.
Yeah.
And until he says something weird like, hey, maybe the government's not that bad, right? Until then, this is incredibly useful.
Yeah.
But I go on Twitter now, and there's people just going like, Steve Kirsch is a fucking CIA agent. He's fucking, because he's not talking about this enough, and it's just like, fuck, we're going to tear ourselves apart.
Yeah, well, it's true, but that's what they want,
But we have to be careful. Yes, and that's the other side of it, is got to be careful, because all of these movements throughout history. I mean, COINTELPRO, FBI, the Black Panthers, fucking labor movements. That or you can think of all these like January 6th or the G6 protests or G7 protests here in Laval, Quebec. Remember, like 2010 or whenever that was, and they fully like had video of all these guys that were starting all the shit in the protests for the G7 in Canada, and they're all wearing the same fucking cop army boots.
Yep.
So I mean, these people are here. But my point is, until they say something that's antithetical to what we want, just let it go. It's good. They will reach people, and they will get, grandma in Idaho going, hey, maybe I shouldn't get another booster.
Yeah. Oh, exactly.
That's good.
Yep. No, agreed.
And let's not tear ourselves apart in the meantime.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting times.
Very. So we're going to check out this video.
Yeah. All right. So let's do this. I'm going to get ready to share. Let me see. We get this all right. So, I mean, this is definitely like my fucking crazy passion project. Is this fucking Hunter Biden, fucking Democrats, fucking Ukraine, fucking biolabs, Echo Health. What the fuck, man? As everyone in chat better have seen Metabiota 1. There's no excuse if you haven't by now. You're fired if you haven't.
Let's check it out.
Yeah. All right, let's go. This is just a couple minutes. Still early stuff. All right. So if I go full screen here, does that work? Yes, it does.
Yep.
All right. Here we go, biatches. Make sure volume's up. All right. The start of Metabiota 2. Pandemic Boogaloo.
These films take time to make. Support our efforts by joining us at locals.com.
Important focus of attack, particularly for U.S. enemies seeking to short-circuit sophisticated American forces, and advanced forms of biological warfare that can target specific genotypes may transform biological warfare from the realm of terror to a politically useful tool.
From U.S. newspapers, October 14, 2001. Weapons of mass destruction, chemical, biological, nuclear, around the world. And you know what has no biological research facilities? Ukraine. This is one of the most shocking articles I ever found. Iraq says weapon sites were looted by professionals from Saddam Hussein's most important weapons installations, including some with high precision equipment capable of making parts for nuclear arms. It appeared that a highly organized operation had pinpointed specific plants looking for valuable equipment first. They came in with cranes. Now, Ukraine didn't necessarily have a massive facility. They had 150 service members in Iraq. Okay, so Ukraine doesn't have any biological research facilities. Iraq had illegal biological research facilities. Iraq has its biological research facilities stolen by professional looters with cranes. Okay, then the Ukrainian army withdraws from Iraq. Then, July 2005, guess what? Ukraine now has biological weapons.
All right, that's as far as we got.
Crazy. Have you got the video? Is the video done? Like it's
No,
ready?
God, no. That's
No?
the opening act. I mean, that's
Okay.
just the very opening act. Like I said, and the first one was easy. You're just like, oh my God, there's these weird connections between all these companies and stuff. Cool. This one's like, like that's like an X-Files episode. And this one's like trying to make the X-Files movie. You know how that turned out.
Right.
Right? So I mean, it's like I don't want to do that. I don't want to make the X-Files movie. But so I want to try to get quickly and clearly the historical path. So I mean, it's just like, yeah, I mean, it's like fucking glaringly obvious where they're just like, yeah, like the neocons were all just like, fuck yeah, man. We're gonna have these viruses and we're gonna fucking have viral wars and anthrax and yeah, we'll be able to like kill the blacks and the Chinese with our own viruses. It's gonna be great. And then Rumsfeld's like, oh, we're very concerned about biowarfare in Iraq. Oh, we better go get those, And then it's fucking like article that I never heard of either, and it's fucking like New York Times. These professional companies showed up with fucking cranes to disassemble these labs in the Ukraine. What? This is why I love Housatonic. The guy's great, man. And whenever he like talks about this shit, he makes a website out of it. So I'm able to download the actual image of the newspaper to put in the video. Like the guy's a machine. I don't know how he does this stuff. And yeah, I never heard. I don't even remember hearing that. I remember hearing about the crazy looting, right? Looting the museums and all this shit and handing us cash and all the wild lawlessness and stuff. But like you almost figure that's going to happen, right? It's kind of like, you know, the Roman armies. They had rules for their troops. Oh, you know, you got to wait like 8 hours and then you can go looting. You know, it's kind of known. It's part of war that no one really wants to talk about. The raping and the looting part, no one really wants to talk about that, but it's part of war. But professionals with cranes, like targeting facilities, like what you got to go through to set up a crane, and like we know exactly what we want. We're going to lift it out with a crane. So the next part of the video will explain that, because we talked about the Ukraine troops. I didn't know Ukraine was in fucking Iraq. What? Ukraine had military in Iraq. Yeah. Then they pull out and fucking biolabs show up there 2 years later. And the most interesting thing is Ukraine had possession of the only biggest transport plane in the universe at that time. Right. And it's one of the first things that Russia blew up when they did their special military operation was this fucking plane. And it's like, so you could have picked up like, you know, 4 or 5 mobile bioweapons labs from Iraq, shoved them on this plane and just flown them out to Ukraine. And within 2 years, like Housatonic says, it's fucking biolabs in Ukraine. They didn't have any before. Right. And Iraq has none now. And it's like fucking like, and in 2005, when the biolab shows up, is when Obama shows up in Junior Senator Barack Obama shows up in Ukraine to sign a deal with them about this shit.
You think it would have just been easier for them to just build their own?
They didn't have to, because the Soviet Union had many facilities like this all over Ukraine already. So it's just like a conversion process.
Right.
Or a transfer of whatever they had figured out in Iraq brought over to the labs that were already existent.
So it's probably more equipment that they were stealing then.
Knowledge, equipment and knowledge. Yeah.
Right.
And then I have got all the footage. There's like a Ukrainian TV where they're like, yay, America's here and paying for us to have biolabs that defend us against bioagents. That's all coming. It's all coming, man. Next act, it just gets more and more fucking fascinating. So Housatonic is great for that historical background. Then going to shift over into a really popular and controversial guy on Twitter. He's at War Clandestine on Twitter. And the left is all over this guy. They're calling him the QAnon disinformation agent. But he's got a brilliant couple threads on the Ukraine biolabs and stuff. So that's going to make up like the middle act.
Yeah.
Full on state TV in Ukraine just going like, yay, Americans bring us protection against the bioweapons. Yay. But then it's going to transition into what's the other guy? What the fuck is his name? Kaminoki. He's got a weird name. I'm trying to think. Kaminoki, the greatest or something. Another really good Substack and Twitter guy, and his thread, and that's going to be like Act 3, is Zelensky. Holy fuck. Breaking down his connections to the mob in Ukraine, down to like video of him going to birthday parties for like oligarch mobsters in Ukraine right before he gets elected. And like, holy shit, man, this is going to be a hell of a fucking video. Wow. It took me 2 months to make 2 minutes, so hopefully it doesn't take 7 months to make 7 minutes, but It's a hell of a story, and then right in the middle, you've got fucking Hunter Biden investing in Echo Health, which is investing in Ukraine biolabs, which is selling insurance to countries for pandemics that they basically create. It God, and 10% to the big guy.
Right. But
10% to the big guy.
But nobody's evil.
Yeah, well, you know, and Biden pushes it. Biden pushes it. Thanks, Mary Angela. Thank you very much. This one, I'm leaning heavily into that electric boogaloo breakdance thing, and I want that to stay throughout. Keep the beat up and keep the tempo up. I want it to be a fun video that's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Because that's what I'm like. I mean, like, shit, you hear this stuff, it's just like, we've been sleeping. Like, well, what have we been doing? And these guys just did this under our noses. And Trump was like, oh my God, hey, Zelensky, maybe you should get your attorney general to look into this because this is fucked up.
Yeah.
And they impeached him for it.
Right. Yeah.
Like, what, the third sitting president to be impeached? Because he, like, called out a criminal behavior that needs to get looked into? Like, fuck.
I know.
Like Hunter Biden was sitting on the board of Burisma in Ukraine. 10% to the big guy.
Yeah, I know. It's all madness. It's all madness.
And Trump's like, maybe you should look into that, and they fucking impeach him. And I can't upload a video to Facebook because it says Metabiota.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's what I mean. It's gotten so bad, dude. We've said this before. I mean, if half of these guys pulled even a tenth of the shit they've pulled, 30 years ago, they would have been ousted immediately.
Well, yeah, and it's just so blatant and obvious. But what the left globalist kind of side of things have done so well is to attack language.
Yeah.
So you can't speak to just to say these words. I can't upload because it says Metabiota, and they flagged Metabiota as something that QAnon Nazis say.
Right.
So I can't upload it.
Yeah.
I can't talk about fucking, I mean, like the 3 days after Russia launched a special military operation, we got an email saying you can't upload a video that does anything other than endorse America's view of the war in Ukraine. You can't question anything about the war in Ukraine, or you'll be struck. Like, what is that? Like, the control of language is what they've mastered, and what we on, at least at the center, if not the right, we're not good at it because we don't want it.
Yeah.
We fight day and night to not have any of that. And it makes us weak, man, because like, fuck, these guys are they're just so good at it. You're like, hey, excuse me, fucking anti-Semitism. no, hold on, no. You're just like, wait, does the vaccine medically work? Racism. The control language, and it's something that kudos to them. It's genius because it fucking works.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
We have to watch everything we say and worry about will our videos stay up, and had to give up on YouTube and go to Rumble, and it's like 1/10 the audience and still try to get traction, and God, it's just so complicated. But I think that girl that earlier that we showed, the Jacinda Williams girl,
Arden, yeah.
But that lady talking about her, she's right. It tends towards justice.
Mm-hmm. I mean, her Jacinda resigning isn't exactly justice. I mean, she stepped down of her own accord, right? So it happens, and the person that replaces her may end up being worse.
Her greater point was that the world tends towards justice. She's just like us. She's very jaded. I think she's saying is that it might take decades, but generally speaking, the truth comes out.
Yeah, I don't doubt the truth comes out, but I don't know if I agree with the justice angle. I mean, what do we have evidence of that from the past, like true justice? I mean, I suppose there's some, but I don't think there's nearly enough.
No, it's not satisfactory amounts, but generally the view over time tends towards justice. I mean, did you achieve justice? Like, did Pol Pot end up before a court and get sentenced to death for his crimes? Did I mean, will Bill Clinton be dragged before a court and be sentenced to his crimes, or Kissinger? I don't mean it like that. I just mean that as time goes on, people will increasingly speak about Kissinger and Clinton and the lockdowns and the vaccines in a bad light. Justice over time tends towards justice. She framed it in terms of justice. I'd frame it in terms of truth. Truth will eventually win out. God, it takes decades sometimes, but it tends towards truth because lies take tremendous amounts of energy to uphold. The truth takes zero energy to uphold.
Yeah, I agree, but I think people have short memories though too, right?
Yes, yes, and my saying that offers little comfort to people who are dying and suffering right now. Yeah, and preventing that dying and suffering is why we're doing this. As much fun as we're having being a couple of Canadians with weird tinfoil hats on, it's kind of what we're about, right?
Yeah.
Oh well.
What else we got? Anything?
No, I'm out.
That
was it. I spent the whole wad. We did a little bit of news. We did a little bit of Metabiota. we did my hat, and that's it. That's all I got.
Yeah, I don't know much either.
Yeah.
Just
what's the climate like in Yukon? What's the political climate like? What are people like up there? For Americans, this is right next to Alaska.
It's about 50-50 split between conservative and liberal.
Yeah.
The liberals are in power and have been in power for a while.
Yeah.
Years.
Well, they own the downtown core, right?
Yeah, exactly the suburban white horse, if you want to call it. Is definitely left leaning. When they get out into the rural areas, it's more conservative, I guess. Yeah.
Well, I remember when I was up, like we were literally confused about when Pride fucking parade was, because you just had it, and then all the businesses were announcing that it was coming up again.
Yeah,
everybody's like, "What? Didn't we do this?"
Well, I think we were right in the middle of Pride Month, weren't we? I didn't realize there was a month, but I guess there is.
Well, yeah, there is now, right? But like you guys had a Pride parade, but then all the banks and shit were like, Pride parade's like next week, and we're like, what? Like we just did this, and it's the same thing here. There's like all these Pride events, and like the Pride streets were all Pride flags and shit for like 3 months, and like nobody even knows anymore when Pride. It's just always Pride. It's just everybody's gay all the time now.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck, man.
Yeah, that's a whole other. We could do a whole show on that, or a couple of shows. I think East Coast was kind of doing that tonight on his.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, all the child grooming stuff, and now it's a lot of it is tied to the Pride stuff, right? So, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a
East Coast Canadian. For everybody that hasn't heard or followed East Coast Canadian, you got to check those guys out. They're great. Like, yeah. Like even if this is believable, even more fun than us.
Yeah.
Canadians just having at it with the news and being super conspiratorial and weird. Great channel. Phil Brown and East Coast Canadian. And then they stream together as well. Just a blast. Everybody check them out.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Mary Angela, exactly. Limit it to one. I think I think gays were plenty happy with Pride Day and a giant fucking parade, and politicians were pressured to like join it, and it's all great. But now it's just like, we just did Pride. What do you mean we're doing Pride again? Like Pride what? Pride week? Pride month? Are we doing a parade again? What are we doing? It actually waters it down. So strange. And like, I don't remember any giant movement to make Pride Month. They just did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I don't know. Maybe they'll leave us alone if we make Pride Month. Like, fuck, we're just gonna wake up tomorrow and it's just gonna be Pride Canada.
I think we're almost there.
Always Pride forever.
I think we're there now.
Can we have a straight white parade day?
Ooh, that's
once
racist.
they do that, straight day. We'll have a straight parade.
Straight day.
Yeah.
How about we just don't?
Okay.
Yeah. Let's just
Okay.
not do it.
Could be problematic.
Yeah. I think so.
Slightly.
It's okay to be straight.
All right. Well, we're out of material, obviously, so I think we'll call it a night.
All right. That was good. Good little.
Oh yeah.
Tight.
Oh yeah.
Tight.
Nice and tight. No one could accuse us of being lean on content.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We'll be back next week with even more fun. Stay tuned. Thank you, everyone. Bonsoir.